Silence! It's time! It's time! It's
time for another episode of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Sit back and get back and get back and get grab a six-pack, sit back and get back and get back and get grab a six-pack, sit back and get back and get back and get grab a six-pack, sit back and get back and get back and get grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 386 of Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. I'm as always, I'm Tyler, and joining me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Oh, happy day, buddy. Oh, happy day.
Yes. Oh God. It's so good. Oh God.
Do you want to explain it or do I?
I can explain it. Something good finally happened in 2020, Gables. Something good happened to the world. Vin Diesel's new hot single, "Feel Like I Do," just dropped on Friday, and it's probably the happiest I've been all year. When I found out it happened, and then I heard it, and I'm like, it's not great, but it's just a happy song, you know.
It is.
We need it. This almost makes up for the fact that Fast 9 got delayed a whole year. So Gables didn't even know about this. So he's just been living in this hellhole of a world that, before VD, BVD, no, he lives in
before VD. You gotta word that one better.
No, leave it as is. BVD, before Vin Diesel's hot new single, BVD NHS is what we're gonna call that. And now it's now we are at AVD, new NHS. So he was living, in the old ages where they're still fling poop and light fires with sticks and rocks. Now he's in the new age where we have like cool technology and flying cars. And he got to listen to part of the song. I had him listen to it. But then I show him this sweet little video of Vin Diesel singing "Oh Happy Day" in a church choir. And boy, was that something. Oh, he's like, we both like when he's "Oh Happy Day," it's pretty good. It's actually not bad. Like he does like his Louis Armstrong impression, but you're more, the lingo better of a singer. But when he like tried to like sing loud, it's bad.
Oh my God. No, you could tell, man, from the reaction of the people around him, and even like the guy that's right behind him and stuff, like just singing, he just can't hold back, man.
No.
He just had his palm to his mouth and started laughing because he's singing, he's having a fun time, man. But it's like he's squeaking, like
Oh, happy
man.
day.
Well, that's the thing, man. It's like his pitch, out of tune, go sharp, but at the same time, he's still going through and keeping pace. He's still singing the song. He's still enjoying himself, man. It's like, even if some things are like off key or something's like not the thing, he's still having a ball with it, though.
Oh yeah, everybody just look up Vin Diesel sing "Oh Happy Day" or Vin Diesel choir on YouTube, and you know what? It's not bad. It's bad, but he's just so goddamn happy and having so much fun. And it makes, who'd have thought of all the people in this world that would bring us joy, the most joy in 2020, it'd be fucking Vin Diesel.
Dude, you have a serious man going to these action movies, doing all this stuff like Riddick, like Fast and Furious, and all of a sudden he's released a hot new jam in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me feel like you do.
I feel like I do.
And
go ahead.
as soon as I heard the song, and I'm hearing his voice, all of a sudden it's like there was just something that was just off in my head. Like, wait a minute, I recognize his voice. What the fuck is that? Oh my God, it is Vin Diesel. It's like, what?
Because I heard it. I saw someone post it on Twitter, and I immediately just searched it, and I'm like, I didn't like research it. I just searched the song, and I started listening to it. I'm like, that's not Vin Diesel. That doesn't sound like anything else. And then like 30 seconds in, I'm like, Oh my god, it is Vin Diesel with just a shit ton of auto-tune.
Dude, I thought when you were going through and like suggested like, hey, you want me to show you the Vin Diesel's Hot Jam? I'm like thinking to myself, oh no, this has got to be something in regards to someone put something together like the whole Jeff Goldblum thing with Jurassic Park.
No, this is a real piece of art here, man. This is top notch. If he doesn't win all the Grammys, the Grammys happen this year. I don't even know. The next Grammys that he's eligible, he needs to win them all. Debut artist,
God.
Boom, Vin Diesel.
Dude, I could just see a new thing by 4chan all of a sudden just just circling around Vin Diesel, getting him to win a Grammy for his song. Best new actor. No, best new artist.
Yeah. It needs to happen.
Could you just imagine like all the other like fucking new singers of the time or something like that? Just go through them all these fantastic like albums and stuff, and here's Vin Diesel with the best new track of 2020.
Yeah.
Feel like I do.
Yeah. Oh man, I hope it happens. He needs some other songs where he needs to like mix it up with like some of his co-stars in Fast and Furious. Like I need like a Tyrese, Vin Diesel collaboration. I need a Ludacris and Vin Diesel collaboration. Who else? Does Lucas Black, does he sing? I don't know. Put him in there. Let's find out, Like Paul Walker's little brother, Cody Walker. He might sing. We don't know this. Put him in there. Let's find out. We'll find out real fast if he does.
No, here's what you gotta do. You gotta have Ludacris inside this track, right? Gotta have the flow, gotta have himself like go through a bunch of the rhythm stuff, and all of a sudden you have Vin Diesel and Tyrese and stuff. Kind of supporting like an R&B sort of flair. Mm-hmm. Sort of like a whole babyface Usher shit.
Yeah, man, let's do it. He just needs to do like I was telling you for the show. I'm like, if he just did like a cover album of just Louis Armstrong songs, but like the original like music in the background, the original track, but with him singing an auto-tune, I'm all in. I'll buy the copy. I'll buy all the copies. I'll buy a physical copy.
Dude, I'm gonna put this out there, man. It's like I pay good money to hear Vin Diesel sing some D'Angelo.
Oh, fuck yeah. Dude, I'd pay good money. If he just came and like did a tour, I'd pay for that. Fucking let's go.
Just hearing like Vin Diesel's going, how does it feel? how does it feel? Anyway.
I'm all in. What if we just replaced CeeLo Green and Gnarls Barkley and just put Vin Diesel in his place? I just want to hear him sing Crazy one time.
Oh, God.
Oh.
And it's... Dude, even for his range and stuff like that, it wouldn't go above, like, fucking... Oh, God, what was these going? He's at a D. He's, like, actually had, like, a high D for his voice, He's, like, in that sort of... That second tenor range and stuff like that where he's past middle C, right? He's, like, hit the next note up. And it's, like... That's what you're gonna hear.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna be like C. It's gonna be like C D. I'll think you crazy.
Yeah. Oh boy, I'm just getting myself hyped up for something that's probably never gonna happen. But I just want Danger Mouse and Vin Diesel in the studio right now.
Oh Jesus Christ!
If I don't find out in the next month, that's happening. I'm be so pissed. But if you want more discussions like that every week from us. We are all over the place, guys. You can subscribe to us. We're on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, all those places. Just look us up, Drunk Dash Nerds Podcast, Drunk Nerds Podcast, Drunk Dash Nerds, whatever you can, and find us in those places. But anyways, this is a gaming podcast. Gables, we're talking about games. Actually, before that, we just talked about Vin Diesel. We didn't talk about how we're doing. How are you doing?
Right?
We just, we're in a good mood, obviously, because we have to listen to Vin Diesel's sweet voice, but. We're much better than we were before we start recording. But how you doing, buddy?
Dude, I'm doing all right. I mean, hell, I got a 3-day weekend. I spent a lot of this day watching football and happy my 49ers won. I mean, hell, they should be winning the game against two struggling teams as the Jets and the Giants.
Yeah.
But I'm happy. I was also happy to see both the Cardinals and the Rams lose because, NFC West rivals, baby. Suck it. Anyway. Yeah, the Seahawks won. But anyway,
fuckers.
Other than that, though, I've just been playing a lot of games, man. I mean, I kid you not. On my Switch, been playing some good stuff. played a little bit of stuff on my PS4, and there's a surprising game that I will share upon what I've been playing that I don't believe anybody was going to see me going through and playing anytime soon. So
Are you playing the Treehouse game?
What?
Yes. Are you playing
The
one of
Treehouse
those?
game?
You know the Treehouse game I'm talking about.
Oh hell no!
Are you playing it?
No.
Do you want to replay it?
No.
Okay. You don't want to do like an extra life bet where one of us is to play Treehouse?
Oh
game
hell no! I ain't doing that shit again.
Oh, it'd be a blast, man. I wish there were like online co-op because I would totally, as like a torture, play through that with you. I really think.
Oh my god.
We say every year. Okay, but we got. All right, we're gonna talk about it real fast. Extra Life. It's 6 weeks away, guys. So let's get out there. Let's sign up. Extra-life.org. Sign up. All the money that we earn. Play games for 24 straight hours on November 7th. Don't do it 24 straight hours. You don't do it on November 7th, but that's the game day. But you can break it up. Do a different day if you want to. That's game day. Do it every year. This will be my 9th year. This will be Gables' 8th year.
Yep.
So sign up for that. Please do. Or tell friends about it. Share it. It's awesome. But every year, Gables, we talk about playing through Resident Evil 6 together.
Oh my god, yeah, that's true.
I'm thinking this might be the year we gotta do it.
We got to do it this year, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be because the new consoles are coming out. You know, I mean, I guess it's backwards compatible, but I don't want to hurt my PS5 like that and download that Resident Evil 6 on it.
You don't want it to file your PS5 from the get-go with Resident Evil 6.
Like my launch edition is gonna brick immediately. The first thing I'm gonna download when I buy it is Resident Evil 6.
As soon as you load into a level, all of a sudden you just flat lines.
Yeah.
Like, oh no!
It's like the original like Mortal Kombat games where like you test the might of your PS5. It's like, can it handle Resident Evil 6? It's like that's what's gonna do. That's what we're gonna test the real powers of these things. But I don't know, Gables. I mean, there's 4 campaigns. They're not very long. If we just throw it on easy, I'm not saying be crazy. We'll put it on easy, and we just see where we can go. But we gotta start with. Okay.
I will say, if we go through Chris's campaign and we're at that middle mission of that campaign, and we run out of ammo, we're gonna automatically restart that damn mission.
Yeah, that's
I do not want to go through that shit again in Resident Evil 6.
That was my problem too. I played it on normal. I beat Leon's and Jacob's campaigns, and Leon's was actually okay. If we play Leon's first, I think it's a smart. Maybe we play one of the shitty ones first, and then we have that Leon one to look forward to.
Chris's first.
We play Chris's first, and then we play Leon's. Like, all right, we got the Jacob's is pretty bad too, but if we can get through Chris's, that's the key, because I'm the same way. I beat Leon's and Jacob's, got midway through Chris's, and then ran out of ammo, and I'm just like, I'm fucked. So, but I was playing on normal, so if we just throw it on easy, I think we can just fly through these. I don't care about Mia's playthrough. I'm not going to worry about all that. That's like just an extra thing that's in there. We just got to plow through those 3. I bet we can probably knock that. It'd probably take half the day of Extra Life, but
okay.
But I'm thinking we do it, Gables. Is it gonna be the? We would say that.
Are we going to stream it while we're doing it?
Oh fuck! Of course we're gonna stream it while we do it. Absolutely, we're gonna do it.
Oh my gosh, that was so awesome! The one year when we did a way out and stuff like that.
That's what I was gonna. Yeah. I was gonna say that this is gonna be our way out of moment. We didn't have it last year. We had it 2 years ago. We're gonna do it this year. We're gonna play that. But I think we should do it early though. We just start it and we just get it out of the way. Like maybe we'll play a couple games first, put ourselves in a good mood. Oh man, we'll make us let us know that we love playing video games before we remind ourselves why we hate playing video games sometimes.
Oh my God.
We play Resident Evil 6. And then we get all the sweet trophies. You know, so that's something.
Well,
yeah, because the trophies, you can get a lot of trophies in that game just by plowing through the campaigns. So.
I swear to God, though, if I get the fucking platinum in that damn game and Extra Life, I know who to blame.
Yeah, I don't think. Don't blame me. You got. Hey, I am like the reason you have a couple trophies, okay, or platinums. All right.
So, that's very true. Actually,
I take that back. I'm not the you force yourself getting. What the fuck was the name of the game? I'll put it pot. That was you decided to keep going. You put like an extra 5.
That's because the only way I could beat the game is by 100% completing the damn thing. Because I could not.
I thought it was just because you were
insane.
I had to
collect every level in that game. I had to collect all the things in order to progress to the final fucking level. Oh. And so I had to complete the damn thing in order to beat the game.
I just thought I finally broke you.
This too, dude.
I forgot. I just thought maybe I finally broke you, and like that was the end of the show. It's like, oh, he's gonna be like perma mad at me forever because of this bet.
Oh, you have to mention his pitter pot, and all of a sudden it's like, uh-oh, here comes Gables.
He's turning green. Oh man.
Oh my god, that was the funniest shit though. Oh
yeah, it was a good time. But yeah, because I'm looking at my extra life, man, and it's like this is a good year to do it too. Because for me personally, not a lot to play for me. So,
right.
Like I was looking at like I might be like replaying some shit this year. Like there's a couple games I've been like, I got like God of War on there. You know, I re-downloaded a while back. I'm like, oh man, maybe a good time. Because what sucks though is I don't know, like we don't know for sure if like our saves go over to the new consoles. So
I am not going to like. I am not going to chance having any of those saves like that. Even if Sony was able to go through and do the whole aspect and stuff, I do not trust them to be able to transfer our saves from PS4 to PS5.
You think they could because we have the cloud, but it's like I know like certain games like Madden, like you have to play an online franchise to bring your saves over, which is annoying because I technically have to play online, even though I'm just playing in a franchise mode by myself to bring my saves over. So if like a couple times like my internet just like disconnected for a minute, I had to redo it, and like it kicked me out of the game, so I had to go back in.
Right.
So that's really annoying when you're just playing a computer. But and like they're saying you can. I know a few other games to like Cyberpunk shit. So I don't know if it's a game by game basis or if it's just across the board. But you think like just across the board. But hopefully it is because yeah, I don't know. But yeah. Anyways, Extra Life's coming up. Gables and I are gonna play through or attempt to go through Resident Evil 6 finally.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure we said it like every year for the last like 4 years. I remember I said it. Jake and I were gonna go through it. Our first year doing was it our first? It was our first year of the show. Yeah, 2013. We were gonna go through it together on Extra Life that year, and our second year. It was our second year we are gonna go through it because I remember I was playing through my first year doing Extra Life is the when I played through most of Chris's. I played through Jake's campaign. I played through most of Chris's, and I think that's when I gave up on it. Was because same with you. I ran out of ammo. I'm like, fuck this. So 7 years later, and then like Jake's like, you want to play through the Extra Life or the Resident Evil 6 thing? And it was like 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, dude, I'm playing games I like right now, and I'm not having fun. I'm not going to play a game I hate right now. So, yeah.
7 years in the making. We got to bury the hatchet before next gen.
How many times, like the first like 2 years of the podcast, I couldn't go more than a month without ranting about that game. So,
I know.
So it's time. It's time. Got to finally bury. I've already beat 2 and 3 this year. I beat 7 this year. So
good.
Yeah. So I mean, and so I played a good chunk of Resident Evil this year. So the good way to round out the generation is knocking out half of the mainline games. So
dude, I just realized something. If we do beat Resident Evil 6, that's going to be the first ever Resident Evil game I've beaten.
Are you serious?
That actually is the truth. I've never beaten a Resident Evil game.
Oh wow! I thought you beat 5 with Jake.
Oh no.
Oh.
No! I didn't beat 5 with Jake. I played through half of the campaign with Jake until I got fucking tired of it because, well, here's the thing, man. It's like, well, it was all fun and all of that though, but Jake had all the overpowered weapons and he kept destroying a bunch of things before I even had a chance to go through. He told me to hide back into the back of the freaking beginning of the portions of the stage and stuff, and here he is clearing out all this stuff. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this any longer.
It's like
it's like Xbox One.
Yeah, I remember that now because I remember like I hate that in games like when you play like games with your friends and it's like everybody's like 20, 30 levels ahead of you. So I remember a few times playing Borderlands 2 with people and they're like like maxed out their level and I'm only like midway through the main game and I'm like 20, 30 levels behind them, but yet we're playing against their leveled players, so it's just like one hit kills for me. Like I'm just dying immediately. It's like, all right, it was great because I got to farm a bunch of crazy experience points. So when I went back to my game, I was now over leveled. But for like, I remember like on Extra Life doing that with Borderlands 2 for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours with people, and there's all 4 of us in there, and like everybody's max level, and I'm just like, I'm level 25, and they're all level 60, and I'm like, this is not fun. I'm just like dying immediately. I'm like losing all my money. Because
literally me with Destiny 2 when I'm playing with people.
Yeah. Like that's like one of the main reasons I don't like playing those games is like play at for the most part, I play at like a level pace, and it's like I don't get too crazy with like levels and power rankings and shit like that. And it's like
Right.
all my friends are like, all right, well, I'm at like 150 now with my guy, and I'm like, oh, I'm like 25, so it's like, you know, I'm a little bit behind you, you know. Give me like, just stop playing for 3 weeks and I'll catch up. So yeah, this should be fun. I mean, you know, even if it's like A Way Out is a fine game.
Yeah.
But if you play the game by yourself, it would be, I guess, like, but playing with a friend, that's what made it fun. So maybe Resident Evil 6, like us going through this torture together, we'll make it so we have a good time. So.
Oh yeah, well, this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This is gonna be awful, but yeah. Anyways, we are a video game podcast where we play and talk about video games, and we have a plethora of news this week. Not a lot of too big crazy announcements, a couple bigger ones, but it's just a kind of a nice little steady week here of some nice little trickles of news. But the one big megaton news we had, and it was funny. Last week after the podcast, was like we were talking about, man, we've had a crazy month of just like news. Like we've had Nintendo Directs, we've had Xbox announcements, we've had PlayStation announcements. It's like we've just been spoiled with news the last month. It's like, we were talking about like, oh man, it's like next week's probably gonna be a light week. This is on Sunday night, like 2:00 in the morning, Sunday night, Monday morning, and then like 6 hours later, Microsoft announces they bought Bethesda. So they bought it for $7.5 billion. That's with a B. They bought the parent company ZeniMax. So now they own Bethesda. They also own like Tango Games, id, Machine Games. So they have now expanded. They have Fallout, Skyrim, Elder Scrolls, Starfield, Evil Within, Prey, Wolfenstein, Dishonored. They have all of it. Doom. I can't believe I forgot Doom. So they announced that they got them. They haven't officially bought them yet. It's gonna, these things take a while. So they said it should be a done deal by the first half of the next year. So sometime around at the latest June is what they're saying that this is all done, because they're getting like 2,500 employees. This brings their studios from 15 to 23, which is crazy to think. I didn't realize, but PlayStation has 13, and they already had Xbox already has 15, but they've acquired I think like 10 or 11 in the last few years. So this brings up 23, and I'd argue that these 8 that they just bought are bigger than probably the maybe majority of the 15 they already had. So the big thing is like they talked about they're going to honor the deal. It's funny, the next 2 Bethesda games coming out, Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathpool, are PS5 exclusives, are PlayStation exclusives. I think they're time exclusives, but the big thing they did say is that their games are going to be coming out day and date with Xbox Game Pass, and then it's going to be a game by game basis on whether it comes out. It's also coming to PC as well, but it's going to be game by game basis on whether or not it's going to be coming to any other consoles, including Switch, which Bethesda's been pretty good about porting games over to the Switch. With the last few years now, I think pretty much anything that, like Wolfenstein 2, the original Doom, Skyrim, but Skyrim's on everything. It's even on fucking Alexa, for God's sakes. They got Alpha Dog, Arcane Studios, who does Dishonored, Prey, Deathloop, Bethesda Game Studios, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Starfield, id, who does Doom, Rage, Quake, Machine Games, who does Wolfenstein. They have another studio called Roundhouse Studios, which doesn't mean anything yet. Tango Gameworks, Evil Within, Ghostwire Tokyo, ZeniMax Online Studios, who does Elder Scrolls Online, Fallout 76. The big thing they also did announce is like Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Online will continue to have support on PS4, PS5, PC, everything like that. So yeah, so some pretty crazy big news here at Gables. Probably maybe one of the biggest acquisitions of game studio in a very long time. But what was your thoughts around this news?
I thought it was shocking. It was very huge in terms of scale. We haven't had a major gaming deal like that in quite a long time. I cannot remember the last big deal that happened in the gaming industry, but this is the type of deal that shakes the foundation of the gaming industry for years to come. And you better believe the next Fallout, the mainline Fallout, the next Elder Scrolls game, Elder Scrolls 6, Starfield, you better believe that those games are going to be predominantly either on Xbox and PC both, or maybe, who knows, maybe the next Nintendo Switch. Here's the thing about it. It's like, with Microsoft going through and acquiring Bethesda, ZeniMax Studios and this and that, they pretty much guaranteed themselves like a lot of talented developers, a lot of talented people, and hell, even guys like say John Carmack and like everything else and stuff have actually flirted with the idea of coming back to work on like various games in regards to. Oh my gosh, now I forget the whole thing that he had for on Twitter. There was a back and forth between like him and like someone else in regards to potentially maybe returning back to one of the games that he was working on, Doom or something.
Well, yeah, because I don't really know the full story, but it's like I think there was a falling out between him and id a long time ago.
Yes, yes.
And now that maybe it's Bethesda, I'm not really sure, but they had a falling out, and he said, "Well, now that Microsoft owns them, maybe I can come back and work for you guys." So it was just kind of a joke, I think. It's kind of like the like someone posted something about, does that mean Obsidian can make Fallout New Vegas 2? And I did like a shrug emoji when Obsidian replied to it, because I believe Obsidian and Bethesda had like a falling out as well, or had a disagreement, and they just don't work together anymore.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Kind of awkward that Microsoft owns Obsidian and now they own Bethesda.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because like Obsidian's like just like they make a lot of very similar games to like Bethesda, just on a smaller scale. So.
Well, here's the thing, man. It's like we are definitely going to be seeing exclusive games for the next Xbox. So Xbox Series X, I would probably guess that we're going to see a PC and Xbox Series S exclusive Elder Scrolls 6. That would be a no-brainer in my personal opinion. You got to have enough incentive in order to play the game on their system. But honestly, it's a huge-ass deal. You're going to get a whole bunch of great games. They're going to be day and date on Game Pass, so it's going to be making that incentive even more tantalizing. Which got me thinking, it's like, with the amount of stuff that Microsoft is planning on putting on that Game Pass now, with the acquisition of the Bethesda, and even this past week, I think it is, where they went through and confirmed that Doom Eternal is going to be coming onto the Game Pass as well. That, in of itself is a very enticing deal to a lot of people that that either know a lot of Bethesda's like IPs and stuff, Doom, Wolfenstein, Dishonored, this and that. You know, it's like that's even more than incentive. Hey, get Game Pass for the 6 months. Like 3 to 6 months, or whatever the hell you decide to do it, and you get a Series X, invest inside that, you're good to go. Automatic game collection. But yeah, it's crazy to think that Microsoft, we've been hearing rumors over the past couple months that they've been shopping developers, you know, going through to see who they can go through and pick up and stuff. People thought it was going to be Sega for a long time. People thought it was going to be WB because they've expressed interest in maybe acquiring WB's game department because Warner Brothers was going through and wholesaling people, like not people, but wholesaling like developers and like all sorts of studios and this and that with their reshuffle. But to hear that they actually bought one of the biggest like publishers, developers and stuff inside of Bethesda in ZeniMax Studios, I mean, that honestly, I did not think that's going to happen, because those guys are fucking huge. They have their own separate, like, fucking conferences and this and that, you know, showcasing their own games, like, almost every year at E3 for the past couple of years. So, that's huge. Their studio thing increased from 15, like you were saying, Tyler, to 23. They have much more talented people that they just acquired that is going to work and fine-tune a lot of the quality stuff. Yes, they're, like, fulfilling the endeavors of like the PS5 exclusive game like Deathloop, plus like whatever the heck they're going through with that the Tokyo game in that regards. But everything's all crazy. It's like we're not knowing for a fact that anything's really concrete. I would guess that there is definitely going to be plenty of Xbox Series X exclusives. Maybe a couple more ports going over to the Switch. I mean, I'm not ruling that out. I mean, hell, there's like Switch owners are still waiting for Doom Eternal to get on the damn device that they promised.
I think there's it seems like they're doing like almost like a partner direct every month now. So I'd be surprised if maybe there's like a partner direct here in the next few weeks with October coming up. And then
Nintendo definitely said during the last partner direct that there's going to be maybe a couple more before the end of the year. So that's in line possibility.
And then Bethesda did say just like a week or two ago that's still in development. So.
Good. Tyler, what do you think about it, man?
I think, it's one of those things I was talking to Justin about, and he kind of framed it like it was a weird thing where I was like excited, but also like, I'm like, why am I excited about this? Like, this isn't like, like an awesome thing for me necessarily. 'Cause that means like I always plan to get a Series X anyways eventually, but it's like now I have to get one. And it's like, but it's like you're excited. Justin's friend was like, it's like I don't love it for myself, but I love it for Xbox, and that's a great way to put it. Where it's like you want all three companies to be successful. It's like obviously Xbox is like I've been saying forever, and everybody says it's like they do all the best shit for the fans and the customers, but it's like they lack the games. It's like you can have all the best deals, you can be the cheapest price, you can have all the best stuff, but if you don't have the product there, no one's gonna want to keep playing them. And this is a huge step, maybe the biggest thing they've done ever for them, other than Bungie. When they had Bungie back in the day, most important thing they've ever done. And it's also, I mean, I didn't know this. I don't think this was like a big thing before. I don't know if this was really known before Bethesda was bought, but I guess they've been not so much struggling financially, but like they're not doing as well. So
yeah, a lot of that has akin to Fallout 76 and how much they invest inside that property and that game and stuff, and how much reshuffling they've had to do.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, but Tyler, this also comes to mind, and this is very important for any console that comes out and stuff. The exclusive games that you have on your system is what entices gamers to go through and purchase your system. Case in point, the PlayStation 5. People want that system. Not because it's just a powerful game console, because there are exclusive games that you cannot find anywhere else on that device.
Yeah.
The new Ratchet and Clank, you have the remake of Demon Souls, you got a whole bunch of other stuff that's down the pipeline.
Yeah. And
so it's important for Microsoft when they have their stuff. Yes.
Yeah. And it's like I've heard, Gary Whitta, he's a streamer, he co-wrote Rogue One, Star Wars, and he's a podcaster as well. He said a million times, it's like the big thing about, 99.5% of the games that are on these consoles are the exact same. It's those 20 to 30 games that come out over that 5, 6, 7 year period that really do make the difference. And that's true. Like you look at, if you rank the top 25 exclusives for this generation, I guarantee you 20 of those are probably going to be PS4 games. If you like, not even being like a bias, but like if you just go on like Metacritic and just look up overall scores, and you compare exclusives, like 20 of those 25, I would bet are PS4 games. Not if you don't include Nintendo. If you just include Sony or PlayStation and Xbox. So like that's the big difference. And getting this, that's awesome for them. And just like I say, in Bethesda was, there been this weird play, and like you said, the Fallout 76, just the last and we've talked about before, and touched on it about how Bethesda like a few years ago was killing it. They had a Wolfenstein, they had Dishonored 2, Prey did really, really well. I didn't care for it, but a lot of people love Prey. Then they had Wolfenstein Old Blood, Doom 2016, Fallout 4. People for the most those games were super high acclaim, and it's just like the last last couple of years, it's just like Fallout 76, Wolfenstein Youngblood, Rage 2. These games that came out either just didn't Youngblood and Fallout 76 did not review well. 76 being the big one. Mm-hmm. Rage 2 just kind of came out and it was okay. Doom Eternal coming out, and it's reviewed super well, but that's the big thing about a lot of their games they make is they make really good. They make a lot of their side games, the smaller games, those B-Call games, like Doom, Evil Within, stuff like that. And Wolfenstein, they review well, but you look at I talked about remember during MPDs Animal Crossing and Doom came out the same day, March 20th, and Animal Crossing is blowing everybody. You can't really compare them, but Doom that first it was out that same day, and remember that March MPDs came out and it was in the teens, the 12th or 13th, and then I think April it was in the bottom, the lower section, the 15th through 20 section, and it just was gone in May, and it's just and I don't think it's been back on there since. So it's just and that's the case in point with I remember Wolfenstein 2, same thing. It came out the same day as Mario Odyssey and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, October 27th. I don't know why I remember that day, but I do. And those games were like 1 and 2 or 2 and 3 in that month. And it's like Wolfenstein was like about the same, but I remember it wasn't even in the top 10. And then within a couple months it was gone. It's like those games review well, it's really well acclaimed, but they're not big sellers. And I think that's a big, I think it's great for those games, those middle games that come out, and I think they're more highly acclaimed than their big games, like the Fallout games, the Skyrims. Like obviously those ones sell better, and they're more like, I think overall like people rank them higher. People that really love them, but I feel like there's a lot more like for the gamer circle, like the hardcore gamer circles. Like I think people look forward to those more than they look forward to like the big Fallouts and the big Bethesda studio games. Or maybe that's just a me thing, but I feel like that's the case for a lot of times. So that's awesome because that makes those games like, they're in this weird shifting place where it's like, can those games still exist? Or like they're gonna have to go more towards these online kind of games, or they're gonna have to go to like totally like they're gonna go to smaller games. Like how are they gonna make these games work? Because they're not. So it takes years to make, 4 or 5 years to make, and then they're not selling great. So it's awesome that those games continue to exist. And it's like I've said for a while, like you look at all these big games that like Xbox, like these developers they own right now. For the most part, like most of their games come out and they're like, I've said a million times, like they're swimming in sevens kind of thing, where it's like there's a few that pop up, like Ori obviously reviewed super duper well, but it's not like a big game. It's kind of like the issue with like look at like Doom and Wolfenstein 2, those games reviewed super well, but it's not gonna like, people aren't gonna like go crazy, like the mainstream audiences go crazy with that game. That's a gamer's game right there. And it's gonna be able to allow those games to stay, and like the hardcore gamers are gonna like, and the people that want to have an Xbox One or Series X, whatever, like now they can, you gotta go there to get them. Like that's gonna make me like, if Wolfenstein 3, which I assume it's gotta be soon. It's been 3 years since Wolfenstein 2 came out. Came out in October 2017, and we're almost in October now. So we haven't heard about a fourth one. So I assume, or a third one. So I'm assuming that's, gotta be announced sometime next year. You gotta think that's on the horizon. But like games like that might continue to exist. Evil Within, which I love the first 2 games. And I figure that franchise is probably over because I know they don't sell well. But like those kind of games can come back. Games that like, maybe they're not gonna be world changers, but they review well and they're well acclaimed. Like that's the kind of stuff they need in there. They need like those games that get a lot of 8s and get a lot of 9s. Like they need more of those games in there that are going to be a little more acclaimed. Those games that usually sell 2, 3, and 4 million copies. They need more of those games in there. Not like I enjoy Tell Me Why, but like that's not going to, you're not going to have a lot of people buying Game Pass for Tell Me Why. Battletoads, really good game. We enjoyed the game, but if it wasn't on Game Pass, we wouldn't have played it.
Very true.
Stuff like that. They need those games like, I would have bought this game, but it's on Game Pass, so I'm going to get Game Pass. It's like Gears 5 for me, like last year. I was going to buy the game anyways, but now instead of paying $60 for it, I can get it on Game Pass. Like I already have it, so boom, I got it. Or, I would have got Game Pass, just to play it. And I said they're like over 15 million people have Game Pass right now. So that I assume that's only going to go up. And also the fact that they announced this the day before pre-orders went live. I think it's smart too. Where they would have sold out anyways. Like you didn't have to do this, but it's just like it makes people want to get a Xbox Series S or X that much more. It's gonna make
I believe they had that in their back pocket for quite a while.
Yeah,
and they purposely held that until the day before the pre-orders.
Yeah, even though it's not going through yet, it's gonna be. They said it's gonna take their 6 to 9 months to actually go through make it the final. But it comes back to the same point though, where it's like, the next 2 games that they have announced are coming to are going to be exclusives to PlayStation. So it's like they're kind of in the same issue right now where it's like what's on the horizon anytime soon. It's like most of the shit they've shown, like the big stuff, Fable, Hellblade 2, those are 2022 games probably at the earliest. Like we haven't even seen gameplay for Hellblade 2. We've seen one trailer last December. Halo, God knows when that game's going to come out. That's probably, that could very easily be a fall 2021 game. So it's like they're still in that issue where it's like, unless Bethesda had something big they were going to release, it's like they don't have anything in their back pocket right there. So, but in a couple of years though, and I feel like I've been saying like they're a couple of years away from being a couple of years away. It's kind of, I feel like I've been about them the last 3 years, but it's like with all these new, like I feel like they can continually have big exclusive games coming out for them and keeping you with Game Pass, kind of like with like Netflix and like Amazon Prime. It's like every month you like, hey, we have this big TV show, this big movie on here. It's like, okay, I guess I'll get it for another month. Okay, I guess I'll keep it for another month, just to watch these shows or watch these couple movies or watch these couple shows. And it's like, if they can do that, where it's like every 6 weeks, 3 months, or whatever, they have a pretty big game. Even it's like a double A kind of game, like even if it's the Evil Within or Doom or some Double Fine game, things like that. Like if they have enough, they can like continually every couple months come out with a good, like a banger, a good game. It's like that will keep people around than just like getting Game Pass for a month and then like, all right, well, I'll come back when the next big thing comes out or something else I want to play comes out. It's like that's the key, and I could see them being there a year from now, easily. Once Halo comes out, maybe like at that point, that's what I'll get the ball rolling, and they can continually keep, with 23 studios, they can continually keep pumping out games.
Yep.
They can come out maybe 2 or 3 big ones every year, and then have a few smaller ones in between there, kind of like how Nintendo and Sony have been doing it for this generation. So I think that's the key. But yeah, I don't know, awesome for them. Like I said, Doom Eternal comes out October 1st, so that's Thursday, so that's awesome. And that's right before the DLC pack 1 comes out. It's not part of you have to buy the DLC thing separately, but that's a good sell for them as well. Like they might get some people to buy the DLC for that game. But moving on to sticking with the Xbox and the pre-orders. So they had theirs. They announced on earlier a week or two ago that they're going to go on for pre-order on the 22nd, and then they have the details. It's going to be 8 a.m. Pacific time. All the pre-orders are going up for all the GameStop, Best Buy, Amazon, even the Microsoft Store. So they went up, and it was kind of a weird situation where it's like, it's funny because like Xbox was like throwing some shade at PlayStation early in the week, because like about how like, hey, you guys don't have to worry about us randomly popping up, like, well, we're going up at this time, and like kind of making fun of PlayStation and their whole bungled pre-order situation. And then the Microsoft Store immediately went down that morning. So it's like, hey, if you guys are gonna throw some shade and talk shit about PlayStation, maybe you guys should make sure your own website doesn't go down as soon as the pre-orders go up.
Come from Microsoft, the major tech company.
Yeah,
and stuff
that
like
too.
That. All of a sudden their website goes down just like that.
Yeah. So yeah, that on top of it too, they're a big tech giant too. But it was kind of weird, like they had like Amazon didn't go up until like, about like 30-40 minutes later. Best Buy went up like 45 minutes later. So most of the sites went up right up at 10. I heard Target was a disaster. Trying to get like something in your cart, like the Microsoft Store went down. And then like in the brick and mortar, like GameStops and places like that were posting signs up the night before, saying how many Xboxes they had. So it's like, and like I heard a lot of GameStops, like their PlayStation like count was short, but this actually it sounded for the most part was like 30 to 40% shorter. Like places were putting like only got 10 X's and 2 or 3 S's, things like that. And that doesn't even include, I don't even know if they even include like I don't know if like there's some separated for the payment plan thing. They have the all access stuff or what. But I don't know. I mean, it seemed like for the most part it worked out better, a little bit better, or ran a little smoother, even though it was chaotic. But pre-orders are chaotic. But I don't know. I mean, what's your thoughts on this whole pre-order game? Do you think Xbox's method was better, or do you think the way the PlayStation's went was better?
To be perfectly honest, the only thing that was better about the Xbox's stuff is they told people beforehand.
Yeah.
That's the quintessential truth. I mean, they told people beforehand, hey, this is what's going to go on, this is how it's going to go, and this is when we're going to go through and do our thing. And they actually did go through and follow through. But other than that, though, it was still chaotic. It was still crazy. Microsoft's website did go down and stuff. But it wasn't too much better. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, like I went on, like I wasn't going to pre-order one, but I just wanted to see if I can get on to pre-order one. Like GameStop had like a queue thing. And that was my concern going into it. Like I forgot to talk about last week was like PlayStation did like last Friday, like what they said like was like Walmart's going to have pre-orders go up at 9 p.m. Friday night, and then like immediately like they sold like in like 2 minutes. And it was like a lot of issues with bots and shit like that.
Yep.
And that was my concern going into it. It's like I don't like. Yeah, like it's frustrating and it's random and it's like, it makes it, I don't know. I'm of two minds with it. Like, I agree. I think like letting people know what's happening at this time is probably, if like, I think both both suck, you know, like there's gotta be a better way of doing it. You know, even I don't know if it's like I'll do a lottery thing. I don't know. But like, I don't know. It's just like, but you give like people like, you know, they know it's coming. They can set up bots, and then like you can see people like we pre-order a ton of them, or you know, with the PlayStation one, it's like the people that want them the most are gonna get them. Like the people that,
Yep.
you know, you got. I don't know. I'm not saying it's better, but it's like trying to find, it's like, you know, like if you got one, it's like because you really wanted one, you know. It's like I was that madman refreshing Twitter, listening to people like updating PlayStation shit online while I was taking a shower to make sure pre-orders didn't go up, and like I missed them. That's like I told you a story last week about how I was in the shower and I found out that GameStop pre-orders went live, and that's how I got mine. So it's like, I don't know. Is it better? No. I don't know. I hope that we figure out a better system before next. But who knows where the hell we're gonna be in 7 years. But I do like kind of miss like the old days of just like, you know, like I remember like the Wii coming out, and like I stayed outside in late November in Des Moines, Iowa, sitting outside of Best Buy all night for like 10-12 hours. I was fourth in line to get a fucking Wii. So it's like maybe that's the best method, and we just don't do that anymore because of the internet and also COVID. But I don't know. It's miserable because it's fucking freezing cold outside. But it's like, I don't know. Like it'd be kind of fun. Like, you know, if I just get some friends together, it's like, hey, dude, you guys want to go sit outside fucking GameStop all night and get a fucking PS5? I mean, if COVID wasn't a thing, I mean, like, I don't know, that could be pretty fun. I think we keep ourselves entertained, especially if we just brought our Switches with us. I don't know. But moving on. So this is kind of a weird one here. I don't know where I sit in this one. So there's been rumors so we've had rumors earlier in the year about like PlayStation's working with Konami about making a Silent Hill game, and then people went crazy like, what if there's a Metal Gear Solid 5? What if we go to Metal Gear Solid in there and stuff? And now there's rumors, like there's rumors that the Metal Gear Solid games were coming to PC, which ended up happening. And then there's been some leaks, and the people that have leaked this before have a pretty much a perfect track record that there's going to be a Metal Gear Solid complete remake coming to PS5 as an exclusive. So I don't know. There's no more details other than that. Just that the people I've said this before have been pretty spot on about this stuff. That's the rumors of the Silent Hill stuff. Haven't really seen the die, so it makes me kind of think. And I even kind of, that was like one of my guesses at the PS5 reveal earlier this month. So those, I don't know. I still kind of feel good about the Silent Hill stuff, but like, I don't know. I mean, do you think that this Metal Gear Solid remake stuff can be real?
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I treat it as like a big old rumor. I do not believe that this is going to be happening. And the reason why I feel that way is because we're not 100% sure if, say, Sony is actually going to go consultate me with Konami or whatsoever in order to get the IP in order to do this remake in general. You know, I don't feel like that. I feel like the more Konami's sort of track record as of late has been to do exactly what they did when this stuff started going around, which is giving like a whole bunch of the freaking Metal Gear Solid games, like a GOG, a good old games and stuff like that. You know, the Metal Gear 1 and 2 plus some of the other like Metal Gear games, like from I think it was like MS-DOS or whatsoever. Or, no, MSX. That's what it was.
Oh yeah.
That's what I think at the back of my head. It's those type of games that were inside Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence. Yeah, other than that though, God, if this is a true thing and we are getting a remaster for a Metal Gear Solid on the PS5 as an exclusive and stuff, you gotta believe they gotta get the same voice actors as back then, you know, because I do not want to play through the original Metal Gear Solid without David Hayter as Solid Snake.
Agreed.
And that's a fact here, man. He is Solid Snake, regardless of what the fuck Konami try to do. Replace him with Kiefer Sutherland. I do not give a shit about Kiefer Sutherland in Metal Gear Solid 5. Let's just point that out right now. Anyway, yeah, I just don't trust this rumor, man. But how about you?
It's like the fanboy in me is like trying to like hoping it's like a weird thing where it's like a reverse Jinx kind of thing where it's like you don't want to like talk shit about, you know, like when you're going to like you like your favorite football team's playing like somebody else's like a coworker's favorite football team. It's like I don't want to talk shit about their team because like I'm just gonna like if I'm wrong, I'm gonna look like it's like egg in my face, or it's like so like you just talk shit about your own team has like almost like a reverse jinx kind of thing. So for that reason, I'm gonna say it's
that too.
I'm gonna say it's not real because it's just unrealistic. That's never gonna happen. But my God, there's nothing I want more as far as remakes go, like from the ground up remake. As long as like something good does it, like Blue Point or something does it. It's like, and Konami has like Sony just went up to Konami. Is like, you guys don't have to do anything. Just let us make this game. We'll pick the studios. We'll hire the people, and you just get a cut of the sales. And that's all you gotta do. You do nothing else. That's the only way I want this. But if it's like Konami's like they hire somebody and they're doing it, I have zero faith at that point. But because we've seen how shitty they are about porting shit.
I agree.
And doing things like that. So, yeah, just give me that. And just or even if you just like an HD remake right now of Twin Snakes, I'd be all on board with that too. Because I would play an up-res version of that game. But I would definitely.
Yeah, that would definitely be kind of more tricky legal wise and stuff because that's that version of the game was developed by like Silicon Knights, that port stuff.
Yeah, they're gone. But you gotta imagine Konami owns the rights to that game, though. Still, so.
Well, yeah, of course.
But yeah, oh man, I want that so bad. But moving on. So our next topic here is something, that we've been talking about for a while now. This was leaked earlier in the year, which I think back in May, which is a crazy thing. But there was came out that the Mass Effect trilogy was happening, hasn't come out later this year, and then there was reports about a month ago or so that they're going to reveal at the beginning of October and release it at the end of October. Now none of this has ever been officially revealed by EA, but EA is now pushing the game back for planned early 2021 release. What they're doing, and the main issue is that's holding up the development is beyond just the pandemic, is the original Mass Effect game. I'm going to read this from the article here. It says it currently does not live up to the quality of the rest of the package. It would make a poor first impression for new players. It might disappoint fans who then won't go on to play and experience the impressive upgrades to Mass Effect 2 and 3. This is a problem with both the visuals and gameplay. The people working on the game understand the issues, and they want to do right by the franchise's fans. So one of the aspects those fans won't get to experience regardless of how much time BioWare gets is the multiplayer. EA doesn't plan to include the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer in this package. Something that would in turn, something like that would turn this remaster into a live service game, and that is likely not worth the investment. So that's kind of the thing, and this also it said it's going to include all the DLC and all that shit too for the first 3 games. So I don't know. It's like I want this so bad. Like I've been talking about this for months. Like this was like my only hope for, like I was talking about earlier in the podcast about how like my Extra Life is looking pretty clear now because I was counting on this game to be my Extra Life game. This would be the game that get me through. And it's disappointment, but also I look at like it would have been great for Extra Life, but then I look at the rest of the year and I look at November, and it's just like I would play it for a long time. And then that game would get pushed off to the wayside because it's just like November is just a murderer's row of really big games. But and also with everything going on, it's good too because it's like I look at Mass Effect, they're just trying to like bring it up to it's going to be like runs like 2 and 3, whereas it's going to be the gameplay is going to be a little improved a little better, and also it's going to look and run a little better because 1 is the best story in the game, but the combat and the way it plays is a little clunky. It's just like there was the people. 2 went more kind of Gears of War, but like the way it just kind of ran was just kind of it was just off. Like the story is what drove that game more than the gameplay. But still, like I think our Mass Effect 1 and 2 are on the same pedestal for me. I'd probably slightly give the edge to 2, but I don't know. I mean, I'm happy that's the reasoning why. It's like Mass Effect or like EA is like big on just getting a game out there, regardless if it's ready or not. Anthem, SimCity, any game that they release in March period, come back for a fiscal year, like they all come out and they're just shitty and broken. But I don't know. I mean, disappointing. But what do you think, Gables?
Well, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I am disappointed that they aren't including the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer because that was somewhat decent.
It was a blast.
However, it definitely was fun for what it was back then. I mean, I didn't invest a lot inside of Mass Effect 3 like some other players did back in the day. I know you've had quite a bit of fun with it. I had my fun though, but I mostly stuck to the single player experience because, well, hell, I wanted to finish the fight with the Reapers.
Mm-hmm.
But it concerns me now hearing about them changing some of the aspects of the original Mass Effect. Obviously, they want to go through some quality control, like manipulating with the gameplay of it, making it more akin to Mass Effect 2 and 3. I actually understand why they're going this route. But at the same time, there are plenty of people that do like the gameplay in regards to the original Mass Effect, and because it felt more like an RPG as opposed to a third-person shooter in that retrospect. I mean, hell, I know I do like a bit of the original Mass Effect in terms of its gameplay. The only things about the gameplay I did not like about it is the AI characters when you go through in squad and with your squad and stuff and have them designate the points and designate them to go and fire and stuff. They're freaking brain dead as compared to Mass Effect 2 and 3. And honestly, I don't want them to mess up too much or change too much of what made that game fun and campy to begin with, to be perfectly honest with you. Because most of my experiences with the original Mass Effect is just a lot of like random stuff, like getting stuck in the environments and stuff of random planets because I was exploring a lot of the different planets and stuff like that, and all of a sudden here I am just stuck inside of a spot, can't even move in the circle. But honestly, I don't want them to mess it up to the extent to where it feels like an entirely different game or more akin to just Mass Effect 2 in that retrospect.
Yeah.
And you're right though, Tyler. The story part of the original Mass Effect is definitely the strongest part in that retrospect as compared to like the other two games, which I did love the story and the side missions, the loyalty missions in Mass Effect 2.
Oh yeah.
The story stuff in Mass Effect 3, I did like to a certain point. I honestly, back in the day, I know a lot of people had the controversy, had a lot of things to say about the ending of Mass Effect 3. Hell, honestly, I really wish they would have left it open-ended instead of had to cater to a bunch of the fans because, well, the fans pretty much dictated how they should end their own series, which, hey, that's pretty much on, oh my gosh. What's the name of the damn studio again? It's fucking late.
BioWare?
Yes, BioWare. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
God. But, well, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with this subsequent release early 2021.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's a drastic overhaul. I don't see it to like Mass Effect 1. I think it's just going to be like they're going to make it look a little more graphically comparable to 2 and 3. Because I would say that's probably one of the biggest leaps from 1 and 2 is like I remember like that was a big standpoint to me. It's like just the way it controlled during combat and also just the overall look of the game. It just looked way better on N2. Like it wasn't like next generation great, but it was definitely like they got, cause obviously EA bought them after Mass Effect 1 came out. It's like you guys had a lot bigger budget for 2 than you did in 1. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm excited for that game. I so badly wish it came out. I wish a month from now I was playing that game, but it's totally fine. I look at the beginning of next year. As of right now, looks pretty light. So that'd be a great time from all those games to come out. But moving on to our next topic here, Gables. So Amazon came out and just surprise revealed Amazon Luna. It is their cloud-based gaming service, kind of like Stadia and xCloud. This has been rumored for a while. I believe since the beginning of the year. What was it? It was like I think it was codenamed Tempo or something like that. Was what the rumor was. They just randomly announced it at an Amazon event. But it's coming out. It's gonna be. They showed off the controller, which just looks like a Switch Pro controller with Twitch Purple in it, and then there's an Alexa button in the middle of it. It's $6 a month for the right now for early access users, and it has like a bunch of games like Control. Is the big one. I think like the Surge is in there, Luminous, Rhyme, a few others. Like Control is definitely like the big main show one out of this one. But like I said, it's only $6 a month, and there's gonna be a Ubisoft channel that's coming later. This is coming soon. And I think the big key thing for this is like Stadia has like you pay so much a month and to get the service, and you get a bunch of like games in this like pack, kind of like a Game Pass type thing. But then you got to buy all the games separately, and they're at full. Like a lot of the games are full price, and they're $60 in here, and they've been out for a few years, but they're $20 everywhere else. And then Stadia just doesn't really seem to work well, and there's not that big killer app for them. But this is coming out now. It's got 1080p, 4K support. It's coming soon. 60 frames per second is also a big thing they're pushing. But I don't know. I mean, I think it said plans to have about 50 games each on the Luna Plus and Ubisoft channels by the end or by sometime early next year, as they said. But I don't know. I mean, this kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know. I mean, what did you think of this, Gables?
It's starting to make Stadia look a lot less enticing for every passing moment. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing I have in terms of this whole new streaming service by Amazon, this whole game streaming service, the quality of the stream of games themselves. Because that's one of the major things that has kept Stadia from becoming a little bit more acceptable in certain retrospects. Barring the whole like having to pay so much a month and then buy subsequential like games that were like for $60 that were like $20 in other platforms. But the streaming quality over specific like internet connections, that's going to be a huge thing. And honestly, if the streaming stuff is fine, if there's not too many issues, if people are able to sign up for this thing, download their games that they want, not download, what am I saying? It's streaming. If they go through and they start playing a bunch of the games and stuff with hardly any type of input lag or any type of input delay or any type of like frame rate issues or buffering in that regards, if the quality is decent enough to where somebody can enjoy themselves without having to wait every few seconds for something to load in or something like that, then I feel like this could be a potential great hit in terms of Amazon for their next venture in terms of the gaming landscape, since they've had interest in the past to invest more inside of the gaming industry. Hell, weren't they the ones that acquired Twitch?
Yeah, they own Twitch. So that's big. Yeah. I think they're gonna like have some Twitch integration too as well.
And you see, that's one of the smartest things right there that Amazon is doing right now, because with the acquisition of Twitch and now what they're going through with this gaming streaming service here, as long as the quality of it is great, I feel like that they have a good shot of taking a lot of the good share, not only away from Stadia, but also away from Project xCloud as well, and from like the whole Game Pass stuff from Microsoft.
This doesn't do too much for me. I just see this as like just another big company trying to get into the gaming sphere, and it's easier for them to just do a streaming service than build a box, which might be the better way to go. But I don't know. I look at this and I look at it the same way I look at Stadia. I'm like, this is a cool idea, but even less so now, because I looked at Stadia. I'm like, going into it, I'm like, this could be something eventually. And like everybody says the worst thing that Stadia did was when they came out last November is like, this should have been like a beta. Like, hey, this is in beta. It's like, and they had to me, my argument with them is like, they got a year to get this shit together, and like came out, didn't really go gangbusters. It didn't run super great. And then like, now it runs super great, but it's like, okay, what's the reason to get this thing? Like, okay, like what's the big game I have to buy? And it's like, I look at like Amazon and I look at like, I can't remember the name of the game, but they released the game earlier this year, and it was so bad they put it back in beta. Like, they released the game, unreleased it into beta, and now it's back in alpha. So it's like, I don't know how seriously they're taking this whole gaming thing. It's like Google and Amazon are companies that have the money. They can just jump into this, and if it doesn't work out, all right, well, it's over. And it'd be great to see, because I think this could potentially be the future of gaming. But I think right now xCloud is definitely like the main, like the key thing. In the end, like, I think they're the one doing the best. They have the library to right now to like jump out. When they're putting all their games on there, they have, like I said earlier, like you make a list of the top 25 games that you can play, in this generation, exclusive games, like I said, 20 to 25 probably PlayStation. I look at, if you put the top 25 games that are on all three of these services, I bet most of them would be Microsoft games you can only get on Game Pass. It's like you got 3 generations of Xbox games, and then a bunch of pretty good, really great third-party games on there as well. And then it's only any game you buy on your Xbox or for PC or whatever, like, you can play on xCloud. So it's like
That's true.
only getting better. It's like, so like, and then you can also play them on multiple things. You can play them on your Xbox. You can play them on PC. Well, I don't know about PC, I guess, but if you buy them on your Xbox, you can play them on xCloud. So it's like, I just look at xCloud and it's like, they're fucking far and away the best one. They're the most expensive at $15, but I think, you look at, $6 and $10 for Stadia. It's like, I would, I look at what xCloud's doing. It's like, that's the way I'd want to go right now. And I just don't have any faith in Amazon right now. We've seen a lot of people try to jump in. We had the Ouya, we had the streaming box I always forget the name of, that came out like mid 2000s, like early 2000s, mid 2000s. That just kind of came and went. And I look at those, and it's like, they came and went, didn't work out. These are, they're bigger studios. These are way bigger companies than those ones were. But it's like, I don't know. I just have I don't know.
Were you referring to OnLive?
OnLive, yes, thank you. I always forget the name of it. Yeah, but OnLive.
So yeah, we had things like OnLive. We had things like the Ouya and stuff that were before their time, honestly, in terms of streaming stuff. And I can understand where you're coming from, Tyler, because, well, let's be perfectly honest with you. I know streaming games is still a new venture and stuff like that, but, well, all it takes is just one good device in order to streamline everything.
Yeah, like I said, they're like, you have the one killer app or a couple big games that come out for these things that you can't get anywhere else. If Amazon buys a studio, they fucking buy Konami or they buy Sega or something, like that could be a game changer for them. And put them exclusively on their platforms, like that's something that could help. But it's like, in the end, like, people are gonna go there for the games that you can only play there. Like, that's the selling point. And it's just like, I look at right now, it's like, who has the most experience and who's like the most people we can like look at, and like, these guys are hitting it for the long haul. You look at Microsoft, you look at Xbox. It's like, they're right now, they are the ones, like, there's no reason I don't feel like to jump into Stadia or Luna right now. Like, there isn't, unless you just want to try out the service. But it's like, there's no game on there that you can't get unless you just want to like play Control for cheap or something like that. Like, I guess that's a reason, but like, there's no big killer app you can't get anywhere else. So I'm hopeful that this, like, because I think this can be the future, but I don't think this. I still think this stuff might be a little bit ahead of its time, especially like Xbox has PC and Game Pass and a console to like support. Like, those are the things that are going to make the money for them while they're slowly building xCloud. And you look at Luna and Stadia, like, the streaming service is the service. That's what they have. So it's like,
yes,
it's like they have.
And also, let's look at something else in mind too.
Okay.
When it comes to advancements in sort of like video game technology and stuff, to put in perspective, before the whole game streaming thing, back when gaming consoles were still trying to do like downloadable games and stuff from an online server and this and that, even as far back as like, say, the 1980s in regards to the Atari 2600, you could technically try to play certain games online, but it was kind of like a niche thing. But other types of gaming like consoles in the past that have tried like certain aspects of just like downloadable games in general, we're talking about like systems, say like the Super Famicom and stuff, with the whole Satellaview stuff, but downloading specific types of games over an internet connection, going through, playing them. Of course, back then you needed like a specific cart or something like that to put inside your console so you can actually have the game downloaded through your internet connection on the cartridge itself, and that's how you got specific games like playable in that regards. But as far as like game streaming is concerned and stuff, I agree with you, Tyler. I still feel like this whole game streaming thing and the normality of this is still about a good solid 5, maybe 7 years off, because there are still a lot of improvements that need to be made in terms of internet connections and in terms of getting up to that standard. And right now, with things like Luna and things like with Stadia, they're great concepts. They're definitely something that people can invest into. But at the same point, I am not going to trust either one of these services, because I can get games for a PlayStation, for an Xbox, for a Nintendo system and stuff. Like, download them, play them on my device and stuff without having any types of issues.
Yeah.
And until we're at the point where streaming a game is not going to cause a lot of input delay or cause a lot of like lag or something or have connection issues, then jeez, that's just something that I feel like I'm going to be waiting a while for.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I know that's it's probably the future, and it's like, I get that. It's like, you would ask me, 15 years ago, I went through this with like iTunes, where it's like, I'm never going to, I'm always going to buy my CDs physically. I'm never going to buy music digitally. And then I'm like, the idea of ever buying a physical CD ever again was crazy to me. It's like, I'm only gonna buy iTunes stuff. And then it's like, same thing I went through with movies, where I'm just like, I'm always gonna buy DVDs or Blu-rays. I'm never gonna just rent. Even like the idea of renting a movie digitally was crazy to me. And I was like, now all the movies I buy is Amazon Prime. If I buy a movie or I rent a movie, it's on Amazon Prime. And then I look at like like where I've been this last 4 or 5 years now. I went from like, the idea of me ever buying a digital game, unless it was like on a dirt cheap sale, was crazy. If it's like, if I can get it physically, I'm gonna get it physically. And now it's like, except for Switch, I'm like 90% physical or digital at this point. And it's like, I understand eventually, I'm gonna get to that point with like, with streaming, it's with video games. And like the big thing also is data caps, where it's like, I get 2,000 gigabytes a month here where we live, and it's like, on average, we probably use, depending on how much we stream and shit like that, like especially during like the shutdown, where we're home pretty much all the time, it's like we were easily going through 1,500 to 2,000 gigabytes every month streaming, just because we're home all the time. But now that we're working and not home as much, it's like it's down to like 1,000. But it's like, I mean, if I'm streaming a game in 4K, and if I'm putting like if I have like a weekend where I'm just playing games all weekend, I put 15 hours into streaming a game in 4K. It's like, I'm gonna blow through that data cap easily.
Yep,
so
no shit.
It's like, we're also in that weird that process too. So it's like, I think that's gonna be a thing. And it's like, and I don't get like, I get 200 megs here a second, but it's like, it's like that. I don't know if I can even stream stuff 4K at that point. How well it's gonna run. So it's, I don't know. I think it's the future. I agree. I think it's coming, but it's based off really if Luna and Stadia can stick into this for the long haul, 3-5 years from now, if they're still around, that's gonna be the key of how fast I think we get there. But for the I still think I wouldn't be surprised if the end of this generation we're not getting boxes. We're just getting services, we're streaming services, or maybe we get like a box and we just stream off of it, for dirt cheap. Kind of like people do with like the Fire Sticks and stuff like that. Like, yeah, maybe that might be the future, but like I said, I think we're a ways away. I can see us like slowly transitioning. I'm curious, like, where we're going to be 3-4 years now, when it's like, is Sony going to get into this field where it's like, hey, you can also stream their games on, from this or whatever. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But we have a few more topics. I'm just going to pick one more here. We'll just save the rest for next week if we have time. The last big one here is so the Game Awards are happening. They're happening on December 10th. Like he announced, Jeff Keighley announced earlier in the year that was going to happen. This one's going to stream from three different countries. The United States, I believe, from LA, Tokyo, and London are the big three. But December 10th is usually around that time. They announced they're gonna have a couple new awards. Like I think it was like I can't. No, I went to the website and they don't have it on here. They had an award for like best like accessibility for like games that like to help people with like handicaps, things are colorblind, things like that. And there's some different changes to awards they do every year. They always kind of tweak some stuff. But I don't know. Gables, like, I mean, we look forward to it every year. Are you excited for like what could be for another Game Awards this year?
Yeah, honestly, I am pretty excited about it. I mean, last year I wasn't really as excited because there was just a lot of things like just pretty safe in my honest opinion. But at the same time, I do look forward to the Game Awards stuff every year because it's something different. It's something a bit more professional than opposed to what we have had in the past in terms of gaming award shows.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the whole thing with G4 and stuff and Spike TV and all that other shit. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Who knows? We might get some more stuff by Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony.
Yeah,
you
they
never know.
Did say we're gonna have more announcements, so who knows? But I don't. I'm looking forward to it as well. I hope it's like pre-taped or something, like they tape it the day or two before, because like the Gamescom one they did earlier this year with Jeff Keighley was live, and it was like off a little bit. I get it, it's just the times we're in. It's like I want it a little more streamlined. If we can like make it a little more clean and a little quicker to the point, when all those awkward delays, or not to worry about any especially with them being streamed from 3 different countries. It's like you're talking about Tokyo, big time difference between LA and also London, big time differences. So I hope that maybe it's pre-cut. And I also hope like they change like the cutoff date, because they always have that weird like November 15th kind of cutoff date, and it's just like I remember like last year the big thing was like Star Wars Fallen Order, which a lot of people had as their game of the year, wasn't able to be a nominee. And it's like you look at what's coming out, you look at November, like mid to late November, but a lot of games got pushed into that November time slot. So it's like there might be a lot of big games, especially when you get the PS5 and the PlayStation, or the PS5 and the Series S and X coming out like in the mid-November. It's like a lot of big games could get cut off that list, and also Cyberpunk and a couple other games are coming out, and then like Gods and Monsters are coming out like late into that November and early December time slot. So hopefully they kind of change that part and like allow some of these games to get in there, because I don't know, I had my issues with Fallen Order, but that was a game that probably should have been a game of the year nominee, possibly even a winner. But Gables, we are now at the part of the show. We got some more topics, but I'll save them for next week. If we're light on shit to talk about. But we're now in the part where we talk about what we've been playing this past week. So tell me what we've been playing.
All right. Last week, I went forth and I bought a couple of different games on the eShop for the Switch. Obviously, Hades and stuff I did purchase, but I haven't touched that game yet, because there are 2 other games that I have been playing. And honestly, these were games that I wasn't even expecting that I was going to be investing into. One of them is a game that is more reminiscent to old school action games, more so like old school like platformers, say from the Game Boy or NES era. And it's sort of colored almost exactly like how the sepia tone-esque graphics back from like when the Game Boy and stuff. So this was a cheap game, right? It was only $5 when I bought it. And the game is called Dogurai. Now, Dogurai, as the name suggests, is a combination of 2 words. Dog and samurai. So quintessentially, you're taking control of a dog that is partially like a samurai and stuff, and you're going through a bunch of different levels in order to rescue one of your friends who has been captured by the enemy and stuff. But you have to go through a lot of various stages. You have to beat a lot of bosses at the end stages. But it is interesting to a point to where you can actually go through and replay certain levels. You get to choose which levels you can go through first. The action is pretty fast. It's intense. I do like that in the gameplay where there are certain enemies where they'll give you a little prompt and stuff, and you push the button and you can actually go forth depending upon what the directional thing on the D-pad that it shows on screen. You can go through and you can just do continuous slashes, like say like up, down, left, right, or whatever. And depending upon what the QTE prompt is, you can do that, and you can just continue doing like damages up to like about 5 maximum, I think it is. I gotta say though, this game, the gameplay is pretty solid. It's pretty fun. I mean, quintessentially, it definitely looks like I'm playing a Game Boy game, because there are certain color aesthetics that are very reminiscent to what you would play on an original Game Boy or even on a Super Game Boy, to where you can change certain colors depending upon levels. The starting level you have is more like a sepia tone color, so it's sort of like this greenish sort of yellow type of aesthetic that you start off first thing. I didn't really mind the aesthetics, and quite honestly, I did like the idea that the game in and of itself kind of gives that sort of classic like appeal of, say, on an NES or on a Game Boy, where you're playing this specific action game. There's a lot of crazy looking characters, this and that. The boss battles are actually pretty interesting in regards to they are fun to go through a couple different times. The patterns of the bosses are very recognizable. It'll take you a few tries just to go through and beat the specific bosses. But I will say the final boss inside Dogurai was definitely a little bit more challenging than I was actually went in and expected. Quintessentially, with the final boss of Dogurai, it kind of reminds me of a cross between the Grim Reaper from Castlevania and like some other like major bad guy in terms of like retrospect. Because this boss has like two forms, right? So it's like you have the original starting form to where he attacks you with a sickle and you got to go through and you got to dodge him and do this and that and stuff. But then he transforms into almost sort of like almost like a grand wizard type of enemy, to where he's shooting beams here and there. You know, he's got all these these freaking projectile stuff to where they'll cover the screen and this and that. But yeah, like I'm saying, you know, it's like the game in and of itself, it's very fun to play. The aesthetics is fine. The game's relatively short, but here's the thing: it has plenty of replayability, because inside these levels you can go through and you can collect certain things like these little floppy disk things, right? And there's like 4 that you have to collect in all. I was able to collect 2 of them. I didn't get the best ending in regards to the game in of itself, but it encourages you to go through, play through the game again, do this and do that. So overall, I had a fun time playing Dogurai. It definitely was something that I wasn't expecting. I looked at the game first off, and it sort of reminded me something more like a generic sort of pick-me-up game. But as I started playing it, and I started seeing how complex certain aspects of the game was, and how smart the level design was, I couldn't help but like it. You know, it's definitely the type of game similar to how when the Switch first launched, you would get specific types of games that were fun, that you would not expect to be fun. Like Kimiko. That game and stuff I loved playing as well. And even like games like a couple of years ago, like Night Terrors, that I played, and that was like an endless runner and this and that, you know. I enjoyed it for what it was worth with that. So this is a hidden gem in my honest opinion. The game released this year. It's called Dogurai. I highly suggest people, no matter what type of platform it's on, give it a try. It's definitely a fun romp, especially if you're looking for that old school sort of gaming feel and you don't want to go back to playing anything on the NES app or the SNES app on the Switch. So give it a try. It's Dogurai. Didn't mean to intend that to rhyme. Anyway, the next game is an oddball one. It was on sale on the Switch. It's called SnakeyBus. Now, SnakeyBus is an arcade-style game to where the whole concept is you have to go through and collect pedestrians a la Crazy Taxi and deliver them to a specific point of where the arrow is pointing. Now, the whole gimmick of this is when you collect a specific amount of pedestrians, you'll fill up the meter until your bus is full. You got to go through then and drop them off at a specific designated point. But every time you do that, a bunch of like buses are added on to you. So you could actually stack up multiple different buses when you're going through a specific playthrough. Now, for the classic mode of this game, as there are a couple different ones, the whole concept is collect pedestrians, deliver them at a point, buses are added on to you, and you have like a jump button for some reason, which it does come into play, especially when you gather, like, I kid you not, maybe 50 to 70 buses on your line and stuff, and you're starting to running around a room because you're starting to overlap with yourself. Yeah, that's happened a couple different times that I've been playing it. But the game is super wonky in terms of certain it's super wonky in a specific way to where there are a little bit of glitches here and there, especially if you're playing the game on endless mode, to where if you get if you go through all over the map and do this and do that, and you decided to go like 1,000 bus lines deep, which I did in endless mode last night, it was hilarious because you see a whole bunch of the trailer cars in the back of you just start glitching out, just rolling all over the place, and you're just going doing this and that. I got the biggest flashback to big rig truckers.
Jesus.
But not in a Not in any bad sense, no. No, more like a freaking comedic way. Because, to put into perspective, SnakeyBus was a game that was released on Steam last year, but it made it on the Switch this year. Honestly, I do love playing this game. It's surprisingly addictive. You have a couple different courses that you can ride upon. The opening one's a dorm room. So you have a dorm room with a whole bunch of Hot Wheel tracks that you can go through and collect different like pedestrians and do with this and that. But the way you go through the specific parts of this level is you take a specific Hot Wheels ramp and you can go through like around like the bed or inside of the bathroom and this and that. So the courses, the stages in of itself are pretty creative. In one stage you'll have a dorm room, the other you'll have Seattle City, and then you'll have like maybe a bit of New York, and you'll even have some like a big old abstract ones too. Honestly, like say this gigantic course or something like that where you're just circling around like this endless loop pretty much, and you have to go through and like battle through in this big old terrain and stuff where you're just driving around like in a big old circle, right? But it's like a cylinder sort of base course. So you're picking up pedestrians, right? But you have to avoid these pitfalls and everything else for falling inside. What I'm actually impressed is there's a lot of people that have played the Switch version and they have all these different like crazy ass high scores from like just the longest lasting session in some of these levels and stuff is someone spent like a half an hour just going through collecting these buses, and I'm like, how the fuck are you getting through half an hour? I can barely get through like 5 minutes in each session. But yeah, SnakeyBus is pretty fun. It's another one of those games where, hey, you know what? It released this year on Switch. I wanted to try it out along with Dogurai, and I had a blast with both of them. As it stands, though, SnakeyBus isn't the type of game you really beat. It's more or less like one of those arcade games to where you'll get your high score, you'll play it through in a couple different sessions and this and that, but it's not going to be the type of game you're going to play for long chunks at a time. But moving on, I have a surprise game that I had been playing through the past week, and the surprise game is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remaster.
Really?
Like I said before, it was going to be a game that you would not expect me to go through and play.
You could give me 1,000 shots and I wouldn't have thought of this.
I know, right? So, the story goes, I'm on my PS4 one day and I had a craving to try to play something that was installed on my hard drive. So, I downloaded Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, without thinking. It's like, okay, well, it's a free game on PSN, so of PlayStation Plus, so I'll download that, do this and do that. About a month or two later, I'm looking at my PS4, looking at the crossbar, and I'm like thinking, you know what? Let's power it on. I haven't played this game since I rented it back in the day. Mm-hmm. And I played through the first 6 chapters of it, went through the no Russian level, which honestly still kind of disturbs me today. But at the same time, what's interesting is when you start the game, it'll tell you point blank that, yeah, there are some scenes in this game that are slightly disturbing, but do you want to skip these things, because of, it's not going to affect any of the trophy score or this or that. I'm like, no, I don't want to skip. I don't want to censor this game. So I went full on, went through the different levels and stuff, and honestly, I had a fun time playing Modern Warfare 2 Remaster. I beat the campaign of that damn thing.
Oh, wow.
I actually beat the campaign of it. I mean, can you imagine that? It's like, I'm not compelled to play through campaigns of Call of Duty too often. Black Ops was one of my favorite ones. I mean, World at War was definitely an awesome game. I mean, I loved the campaign of World at War. Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 2, I only tried bits and pieces on the 360 and the PS3, but with the remaster that released this year for Modern Warfare 2, I gave it a shot. Really liked what I played. I loved certain story dynamics of the campaign to where it's a highly action-oriented, a lot of set pieces going through this and that. I did like a lot of the set pieces, especially when you're on the snowmobile and you're going through like the whole slopes and stuff like that, and like you're dodging trees, you're firing your gun, you're just shooting all these freaking enemies off the fucking snowmobiles, and they're crashing, they're doing all this other stuff. Excuse me. But I did like a lot of the... There was this one story element and stuff like the backstab between like that main US dude like Shepard and stuff like that with Ghost and Roach and stuff, and you pretty much are like betrayed, and he kills both of the guys and stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like... Then the whole like going to the oil rig stuff, like saving like I think it's Price, I think his name was, and US Soap and stuff like that are going through all this different stuff, and then the final like aspect, the final level, the final scene, this and that. I thought it was very fun in terms of the combat, the whole set pieces of how much action, how much interesting stuff you can get yourself into with these types of games at a time. Obviously, I felt that the up-resing and everything else seemed quite on par. The game is in HDR, honestly. And honestly, it looks pretty good. I thought Beanox did an excellent job with the with this remaster of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I think this is like what? Vicarious Visions did the Tony Hawk 1+2.
Yeah. And
Beanox did this one.
Okay.
And quite honestly, I hadn't heard from Beanox in quite a long while. And quite honestly, I think they did a fantastic job with the remaster. I did love a lot of what I played. And honestly, I thought it was hilarious that at the end, there's like this whole museum thing where you can go through and like interact with certain set pieces. So obviously, I went through that one main like antagonist and stuff through the campaign. I shot him in the museum and stuff. But what's hilarious, and I didn't know this at the time, there's this big red button right in the museum, and it tells you, do not press this thing, blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. So obviously, being the curious person that I am, I press the button. And you know what happens when you press the button, Tyler?
Things go boom.
Oh no. Not just things go boom. All of the mannequins that are portraying each character in this side of the game, when you press that button, all of them start shooting at you.
Jesus Christ.
So you get killed by like about 40 different fucking people. 40 different characters from all these set pieces and stuff. And once that happened, I'm like, oh my god. They totally added that in this game. That's hilarious. So once again, this is the third game in a row where I'm saying to people, it's like, hey, you like Call of Duty, you haven't played through Modern Warfare 2 in quite a long while and stuff, I think the remaster is worth it. I honestly feel like it's worth it. I mean, honestly, I'd get it on sale if you're not interested in paying the what, $20-$30 I think this game is right now, the campaign only. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's like $20, but they had it. It was a free game, I think last month. So
yes, it was a free game on PlayStation Plus. So if you definitely have that in your backlog of PlayStation Plus, download it. Mm-hmm. It's very fun. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with playing the campaign of Modern Warfare 2. Gameplay's solid. The story is interesting to a point. It's pretty action heavy, but that was pretty good in my honest opinion. Cool. And I can understand why people loved playing that game back in the day. I understand why people enjoy it. So with that out of the way, the last thing I've been playing for this week is Mario Super Picross. So going from an action game to an arcade game to another action game, and here we go to a puzzle. I love Picross games now. I made that abundantly apparent when I played through the Mario Picross thing on the 3DS a couple of years ago. But there's just something about Mario Super Picross that I do like. It's one of those rare type of games where if I'm playing it, I play it for a good old hour chunk at a time. And it's still pretty fun. I mean, it's still the same type of concept as the other Picross games. There's like a 15 by 15 grid. It tells you how much per grid row that you had to go through and complete. Of course, because this is entirely in Japanese, because the SNES like app does import games and stuff. It does. Nintendo do drop import games like on the app itself. I can't read a lot of Japanese stuff, but at the same time, I can interpret some of the pictures that I am going through and like revealing and stuff like that. So there may be one one thing you'll go through a puzzle and there's like it shows a dolphin, or it shows like a man and a woman or something, or it shows like a mother and a child or whatever, like headphones. But what I'm saying is Mario Super Picross is also a very fun, addicting game. Hell, if you have even remote interest of playing any type of Picross game and you have Nintendo Switch like online and this and that, give this game a shot. It'll be kind of slow and methodical at first, but once you get the idea of how to play the game and what you're supposed to be doing, I feel like a lot of people will enjoy this. But as it stands right now, I am halfway through level 5. And to bear in mind, all the courses through each level is numbered A through L. So it's like... So it's more or less like 12 levels, I think, per level.
Okay.
12 missions per level or something like that. So like I'm saying, I'm halfway through 5. And from what I'm seeing right now, there's like 7 different types of levels. I'm not sure there's more after that. But you're looking at a solid, 12 times 7. So you're pretty much in for a long haul of a game. In regards to content.
96.
What's that?
96.
Yeah, roughly around that, 96. Or 94
Wait,
or something
84,
like that.
84.
84, okay.
My bad.
God, I need to work on my 12 times tables now. Anyway.
Wait, no, 96. 96. I thought I doubted myself, and I was right. 96.
12 times 7, so it's like you get 14. And then
Drunk Dash Nerds. Drunk
Are
Dash
you sure?
Math Equations. Yes. I'm gonna get the
Are you sure
calculator.
it's 96?
12
I thought
times
it was 94.
84. My God, I can't do math. It's 1 o'clock in the morning here, and I've been drinking. Leave me alone.
Oh my gosh. What's hilarious is we both like math stuff, but even we at this point, it's like it's late. We can't math with our lives right now.
We can't math nor English.
Very true. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing for this week. Tyler, how about you?
So I'll roll fast. I've been playing one game. Well, I've been playing Madden, of course, but I've been playing one game. Before I get into that game, I would want to mention I watched a little documentary called Console Wars.
Okay.
It's on CBS All Access. It's exclusively on there. It's a documentary like Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg produced it as well. It's based off the book that came out about 5-6 years ago about the console wars between Sega and Nintendo. About an hour and a half or so. You can get a free trial for 7 days of All Access, which is what I did. I just canceled it so I don't have to pay for it. But
right.
It's pretty good. And it goes through it spends a good chunk of it talking about Sega and how they, went from, it goes Nintendo coming back and bringing the video games in, and then them going with no competition, and then Sega coming in and how they went from, they had this console out with Altered Beast was a big selling point, to how Sonic became a thing, and how basically how Sega, the whole war between Sega and Nintendo in the early 90s. And it's fine. I think it's pretty good. My main issue with the thing is honestly there wasn't enough of it, where I felt like they could have dove deeper into a lot of the shit. A lot of it feels very much on the surface of if you're a gaming nerd like us, we know the gist of it. And there's a lot of stuff in there I didn't know. And then you get a lot of the interviews from the people that work for the companies at those times, which is really cool. And just talking about it's mostly based on the American side, because I guess they talk about the Sega really wasn't that big of a thing in Japan. It really did well in America. That's really where the war was. Nintendo just destroyed them in Japan. But going through the whole back and forth, and my main issue, like I said, the main issue was they didn't I feel like they could have went deeper. I almost wish this was an extra hour, or it was episodic. If I could got 4 or 5 episodes of this, would have been, I think I would have enjoyed it more. Whereas just my main issue was it just kind of wrapped up. Yeah, this whole war and how it was going on. And then the last they were building up, and it's just oh yeah, PlayStation came out, and then the Sega Saturn came out, and I didn't do well, and then the PlayStation did really, really well, and then the 64 was rushed, and then that was or got delayed, but it was still rushed, and that was pretty much like the whole like that. Like they just wrapped up the last like 15 minutes. It's like, whoa, there's a lot of details in there, guys, that you just kind of glossed over. But I thought it was fine.
Oh yeah. They probably didn't even bring up the point that the reason why the Sega Saturn was kind of like buried to begin with is because you had that same E3, right?
Yeah.
Around 95 or somewhere, Sega just stealth drops the Sega Saturn
they talk about
that day.
They do mention that, but they don't really go into the issues. They don't really delve into the issues with the Saturn. And then like they do show the E3 press conference where like the Sega just like was awful. It was like their Xbox One moment. And then it was just like PlayStation going up at E3 and like the guy walks up and just says $299 and walks off the stage. Like they show that stuff, which was cool because I've heard of those stories, but I never actually didn't know there was actual video of it. And they
there is.
Yeah, like I said, they touch on those things, but they don't really dive into it. And they also talk about like I think his name was like Tom Klinsky. He was like the guy that like kind of like Barbie was like on its way out, like, and he brought him back and made him like he's like made it like what it is today. Like he made Hot Wheels. Like he was like the king of Mattel. He made, he's like the marketing master of things like that. And he was the guy that the Sega of America like hired him. They literally went. He was on vacation in Hawaii, and like some people from Japan, like the head of Sega of Japan flew to Hawaii while he was on vacation, met him on a beach, just showed up on a beach unannounced, and then he flew back to Japan and got a job for them working at Sega of America. And then like
wow,
like the most interesting parts is like the discussions and the arguments he had back and forth with like Sega of Japan, and like how like they kind of turned into like Sega of America was like the good guys of the story, and Sega of Japan was the bad guys, and like he could do no wrong. But they like kind of gloss over like I went in like okay, obviously some of the stuff was like because they make it seem like he's like the good wholesome good guy, like he could do no wrong, and it's like okay, what happened? Like he was actually like the big proponent of the 32X, and like he was like they talk about like the Japan like they did some bad like they fucked up the Saturn, but he was also like he was not 100% correct either, and they kind of gloss over some of that stuff. Like I said, I think the big issue of this was like how I feel like they could have went deeper into this story than like there's a lot more there to it than what they showed, and I feel like they just like the last like 15 minutes just like covered like the last like 2-3 years of that war and how it was just and was over, and I feel like I said like I could have wouldn't if they could have an extra hour or just like a little mini series I would enjoy that a lot more. But the big thing I've been playing is a game called Hades. I talked about last week. Last week I'd only played it for like 30-40 minutes, and I was a little worried. I'm like, I was playing it. I'm like, this replaying over and over sections over and over again. This might concern me. I don't like roguelites at all, and I am completely fucking hooked on this goddamn game, Gables.
Really?
Yeah. So like I said, everybody knows I've been telling for years I don't like roguelikes. Like the idea of them, and just like replaying spots over and over again. And like especially games where it's like punishing difficult. And I don't really feel like this game is like punishingly difficult, which I think like there's definitely like, I mean, I die a lot obviously, but it's like I can do better kind of thing. You can see like where you go better. It's not like that. It's not like I understand like Dark Souls is kind of the same idea, but it's like it's punishing so very much so. And like well, this one like very like I feel like always feel like I was progressing, getting better, and there's not like a big loss on like you don't lose souls or anything like that. Like so every for we don't know what we're like. So like the big thing is like every you get to like, you start off like a run, and there's different gods. Like so basically your Dogurai, I think is his name. He's son of Hades, and he's trying to escape hell, and he's trying to get to Olympus. And there's a story behind it that's actually kind of interesting. The characters are actually really cool. Like Supergiant Games makes really cool characters and makes a really good story, I think. And then the music is top notch as well, and also the art style. But like in like these gods, they give you what they're called boons, and they give you like upgrades to like your weapons or specials or whatever. So you start off the first room you get, it's always random. And that's what's cool too is every room you go to is randomized, and like sometimes you get to like, and it'll show you what's gonna be in the next room. Like you might get like you make through this wave of enemies, you're gonna get like a heart container. It'll give you more heart, more health, or like you could see like 2 logos. It's like, all right, that's a lightning bolt. That's Zeus. Or here's I don't know what it is. I can't think of the word, but it's like, okay, it's Athena. Like each power up gives you certain stuff. Like Zeus's stuff, like he has like lightning bolts ability, and you can add it to like you have a dash, you have a special and then there's different weapons you can use. Each weapon has like a different special, And then like some of them, like it's an arrow, one is like guns, and like they're specials. They shoot off like a grenade type thing. And then like the sword does like almost like a ground pound kind of thing. And then like my main thing I use is a shield, and you can throw it, and it's kind of like almost like it comes back to you, kind of like, you know, like Thor's weapon, or kind of like Captain America is really a better way to put it. Like, and it can ping pong off enemies as well when you throw it, and it'll come back to you. And like, so like Zeus's like powers, like he gives you electric ability. So like every time you hit somebody, like you can choose between 3 different options. So like you can add electric, every time you hit somebody, it does like a little bit of electric damage to it as well. Or you can add it to your special, or it does a little more damage. Or you can add it to your dash. So every time you dash, you'll do like electric jolt like behind you. So like if there's enemies in the area, it does like this little range of area of effect damage to everybody around you. And there's different ones you can do. Like there's like Doom, where like it continues to like damage your enemies for a few seconds afterwards. There's one god that gives you like you can charm people. So it's like you charm them, and then they fight for you for a few seconds, and like they're more powerful, and like things like that. You can always like it's all random. So it's like some games you start off with like some badass abilities, and it's like I've had some runs where it's just like I had like everything clicking for me, and I'm just like slaughtering people and like flying through the game, no problem. There's also like, and like sometimes you go into like rooms and you defeat them, and like, but for the most part, like you go into rooms, like like I said, you can see what like it shows you what's gonna be the next room after you defeat that wave of enemies, and all that stuff when you die goes away. But there's certain like the crystals you can get that you can use to upgrade your abilities. You can add more health. You can add more damage that you're gonna do to people. And then these stick with you, and like you add these continue to build even after you die. So it's like you can add like these upgrades you can get, but the boons are the ones that go away after every battle, and also coins you can get. Like you can buy more health or upgrades or even crystals, things like that. And there's also different like there's like a person that like he's like a builder, and like you can go and you can buy upgrades. So like you're more likely to find like you can set it up so like, all right, when you're going through the underworld, you're more likely to like find a chamber where there's no enemies, and it's just like there's like a thing of water, and you can heal yourself. And then like you get like, so like you get a little bit of break in action, you can heal yourself. And then like there's different like abilities you can permanently upgrade, where like you can like you do an extra 10% damage when you hit somebody. I mean, you do like a backstab when you hit someone in the back, and like you can continue to like add that, so you do 20, 30, 40% damage, and then you can add like almost like kind of like an extra life kind of thing, where it's like, all right, when you die, you can die once and come back with half health. Then you can buy multiples of those. So like I'm up to like 3 now in mine. And then there's like different ones you can upgrade as well. There's a bunch of them. And then there's like every time you die, you go back to like this main thing, and there's Hades, your father, who obviously runs the underworld, and he kind of mocks you every time. You have friends that give you tips and tricks, and there's like little stories and like things going on between these characters, and you're all trying to figure out why is Zacharias upset with Hades and he wants to leave all of a sudden. And just like interacting with the characters is always great too. But I mean, man, the gameplay is just fun, and it's different. Like I said, and like every time you go through it, like the world changes, so not all runs of this. Like obviously, on top of that, like the upgrades you might get, like and what boons you might get through each run, it can be completely random who you might see. And you have some, like I said, sometimes might have you defeat away enemies, and you have 2 doors to pick, and it's like, okay, this one has like a heart container in it, but this one has like you can you can go through that room, fight all those guys, get a heart container, give you more health, or you can go into this room, fight all these guys, and you can get a boon from Athena or something like that, or Zeus or whatever. It's like you got to pick and choose. So it's like, and I was struggling quite a bit. Like I kept getting dying on the first boss. Like I progressively get a little better, but I fought her like 5 or 6 times, and she was just I was not realistically getting close to beating her, and I was getting like frustrated at that point. I'm like, oh, man, like I'm loving this game, but it's like I might be shutting off. And I actually went on to watch a couple YouTube videos of like tips and tricks, and I was just like I was learning like, okay, my main issue was like I was so worried on getting those, like, okay, I can go here and get a more powerful ability, or like there's like certain rooms you can go to where you can upgrade your current abilities you have. They're only on those runs for that run, and when you die, it's gone. Or I'm like, I can go in this room where I can get these crystals that I can take back and buy permanent upgrades with. And it's like I was so focused on getting stronger for the next run, that I wasn't focusing on my current run. And so like once I watch the videos, and it's like, it sounds very simple, but it's like in my mindset early on in the game, it's like, I want to hurry up and get these abilities as soon as possible. But it's like, once I learned, like, people are just like giving up, like, oh, you always want to pick this room. Like, these ones are really, really rare. And these people like are, this person can give you the best upgrades. And like, sometimes you learn like the way you play the game, like what kind of boons or what kind of like, these gods you want to find. Like each one, like I said, has like specific upgrades that they can give you. It's like, okay, these upgrades work best for me. So like I like to have like, I can't remember her name, but like one of the gods I find, there's a chance that one of the upgrades you can pick is like every time you dash, like you have this detect ability attached to you. So every time you dash, like this, like these like walls go up around you. So if someone like shoots a projectile at you, instead of it doesn't hit you, and it actually only projects it back at them. So it's like you have that. So like because I dash like a madman. I'm like, when I'm fighting, I'm just dashing and attacking all the time. And then like I've found one where like, okay, if I can find this guy, it's like every time you throw your shield, your next two attacks after that do 50 to 80% more damage. So it's like, okay, I want to find that guy as soon as possible, because that's only gonna help me, because that's the way I play. Is like to throw my sword and then like dash towards him and hit him, because like you hit him, it stuns him for a quick second, and you dash at him and hit him. So it's like just attaching these and combining these attacks together and finding out what works best for you. It's like that works well for me. And it's like also like it's great too, because like sometimes you don't get those upgrades and you just start off and you're just shitty. Like I'm in the first section and I've already lost one or two of my actual lives, and it's like I'm already down to just a couple left. So it's just like, fuck, like, well, I'm just gonna, like, I'm not gonna win, I'm not gonna beat the game this time. I'm just gonna focus on getting those permanent upgrades I can get to help myself next time. And like, so at that point, like, I'll focus. And that's bit me in the ass a couple times where like I just sucked ass in that first section. And I'm on the third boss. There's 4 bosses in the game. I keep getting to the third boss, and he's just like, I'm getting close, and I get like 3/4 of the way there, and he just whoops my ass at that point. And I'm just like, I'm so low on health or my specials or something like that. Like, I can't get past them. So
So question in mind in regards to this game is, when you beat the boss, are they permanently dead or are they alive in the next run?
No, so they come back. So it's kind of cool too, actually. I want to like, so the first boss is Meg, and if you like, and it's kind of cool too when you defeat them, that becomes a progressing story thing. So like because everybody who dies in the underworld just comes back. Like you can't die. You just you just come back, and you come back in this pool of blood, and like it's kind of a cool thing, like, because Meg will, like, she's so far the 2 bosses I'm able to defeat, like she's like, when you defeat her and you go back to like the little main section where you talk to all the people before you go back and do your run, she'll be there and she'll talk to you like about how you defeated her, or like she's like kind of like, she doesn't really want to do this, but she just kind of has to do this, and you have like a it's kind of a funny connection. And then like every time you go back, it's like, back again, huh? It's like you have like a fun back and forth. Also, what's cool is like the boss fights change a little bit as you progress. Like if you start beating them enough, like they do like little changes to the way they play. So like usually after the 3rd or 4th time you beat them, like they do like minor tweaks, or they add things to like their attacks they do. So it changes every time, which is pretty cool. And it's like I've beaten the second boss like 5 or 6 times. I've beaten the first boss probably 10, 11 times. And it's like, after every few attempts, every few times I kill him, like there's minor tweaks to him, that just because like after a while after you beat him, it's like, all right, I know. And especially if you get like the abilities you want, it's just like, I know exactly what to do. It's just like, sometimes it's like a lot of like, when I fight Meg, like she has a lot of like attacks that do damage from far away, so it's just being patient and like keeping your distance. And I throw my shield at her a bunch, and then like when she's like no longer doing like her shooting a bunch of orbs at you from across the screens, like that's when I go and do a couple shots, keep dashing, things like that. So it's cool, like kind of like make you change up the way you play. But yeah, I'm having a blast with this game. I like, it's like, and like I've never been like I said, like, me, like I don't have patience for games, especially like this, like replaying. But like the way they change things up enough, and it's like I'm constantly like, it makes you like, it keeps you on your toes. Where like I'm constantly have to like, every run is different. It's like I've played roguelikes in the past. I don't like them, and maybe it's like, maybe I would like them more if I stuck with them. Like this makes me interested. Like maybe I should check out Dead Cells now. Like maybe I like that game. I don't know. But yeah, it's a blast. Like it's difficult, but I don't feel like it's overly difficult. And I always feel like I'm getting better every time. So yeah, and like the only thing that sucks sometimes is like once I get to that third fight, it's a good 25-30 minute runs when I get there. So like it can be time consuming. So it could be frustrating when it's like if you only have time for a couple runs, it's like it's like it sucks, especially if you don't get like a lot of stuff to like progress your character permanently. But it's overall it's a blast. I love this game a lot. It's quickly shooting up to my game of the year charts right now. Every run I do, it just gets a little. It's like makes the argument. It's like okay, maybe it's here, maybe it's there, maybe it's here, maybe it's there. But yeah, it's definitely a surprise of the year for me. A game I thought I had zero interest in a week and a half ago, and is now a game. It's got that Hyperlight Drifter effect to me, where it's like that game is not my style game, but it plays the same. But it's like of a Hyperlight Drifter, but like that's like a game that's incredibly hard like that. It's like, and to keep me coming back. Okay, I'll give it one more run, give it one more try. And it's like that's getting me that way too. So it's I hope I can beat it. I'm gonna keep playing it. But yeah, this game, whoo boy, it's so good. Yeah, everybody should just buy it. It's on Switch and Epic Game Store. But that is all I'm playing games. We went really long. Holy shit. But yeah, we had a lot of shit going on this week. But and quickly get us out of here, guys. Yeah, so check out Hades, please. But thank you guys so much for listening. I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. So until next time, everyone, play a bunch of fun games, have yourself a fun time, but most importantly, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
And hey, Gables.
Yeah.
Oh, happy days.
Oh, happy day.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Excuse me. You too many beers there. Anyways, we're on iTunes now, so go on there, check us out, and if you like us, leave us a review, and we'll even shout you out. And Jack will send you his credit card number.